I was listening to a couple old school hip hop albums recently, and I noticed they all had a very similar thing in common. They had the vocal was extremely clear and in your face. But in addition to that, I noticed that rappers back in the day, for whatever reason, they're using so much more of their chest voice, so much more of their like diaphragm, you know? Like it's just it's punching. Whereas today you get a lot of guys that are like, you know, they're just like whispering, all head voice, just talking, all right? I'm not saying one's better than the other, but it's like quiet. Like you wouldn't be able to hear them without a mic. And then on the other chance, you know, the other guy, old school style, you could hear them in a gymnasium without a mic. You know, not as well as you'd want, but you could hear them from one side of the gymnasium to the other, kind of thing. So the way I look at this is it's a symptom of the times in a way of what people are doing, but it's also a symptom of technique and ability and what people are aware that they can do. Like, I'll give you a good example, right? I've worked with a few singers, and when you try to get them to do something different, this is what happens, right? Like, you got a guy who's singing on the mic, and they're like, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but like, can we do another take? Well, we'll keep that. Do another take with, you know, completely different part of your vocals that you're using, another part of your vocal chords. I want you to sing differently, like with a lot of angst, for example. So instead of blah, 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 can you do like, you know, blah, 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 blah? You know, that's a whole different spot in where you're singing. As opposed to, and you know what they do? They go like this. Okay, no problem. They try to get amped up and then they go, blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing. Like they can't they can't figure out how to do the thing I'm saying, which is basically activate a different spot in your vocal cords, a different spot. You know, it's use different muscles to do what you're doing, and they can't figure out how to activate them. And I don't know if it's a symptom of like being shy. I don't think it's that. I almost think it's just not knowing how to do it. Because a lot of people do, like, it doesn't take a whole lot. It's almost like manufactured energy. Like, how quick can you turn up and all of a sudden give diaphragm? Some people need to like work up to that. That's why when you see people teach singers how to sing, you know, a lot of times it's like they're all here, and then they got to like push here. They got to push and hold their back up, get them to be straight, and do all these things just to activate more of what's going on inside them to like get them to, you know, and it's just like comes out like a ghost. And it's weird to me that some people have such a hard time doing that, but I clearly understand they do. It's just that's never something I've had a problem with, so I don't get it. Because for me, I'm just naturally crazy and weird, I guess, but I can go from this to like this. It's like picture Chris Farley. You know, he's talking about the whatever, and then he's talking about it, and it's so instant. And he can do he's not only acting, but he's acting with his voice. And I think those things is part of the reason why I like Mike Patton so much, because he's got so much vocal range in his ability to deliver things that are guttural vocals, like the beginning of hardcore, to sweet, pristine sounding, clean, clear vocals. You know, and if you listen, what was the name of that song that I love so much? You know? In a crisis. Midlife Crisis is the name of the song. I had to go through that whole thing to just figure it out. But Midlife Crisis is one of the coolest Faith No More songs because it's got everything that his vocals do in such a short, like in a regular, like pop song, you know, great song, but it's got like this guttural beginning of hardcore type rock. And then it just gets so clean and clear pop vocal, like such a great performance of both. And it's just really interesting. But I recommend you not listen to the album version. You should listen to the live version. Find live versions of that song if you want to hear what I'm talking about, because they are way, way, way better. And that's a symptom, in my opinion, of the time and production. And I don't particularly love some of the production that was going on around that time. Some of it I do love, but that specifically, I don't love. Like, that song is a perfect example of like way too produced and too clean and not, you know, too sterile. And then when you hear it live and hear the band actually playing that song, it's a completely different thing. It's a totally different animal, and it sounds way better, in my opinion. The more you give diversity and dynamic to your vocal, which means changing from the mood of it and the flavor of it, from head voice and whisper, regular talk voice, to chest and being out there, like the more you do that, the more interesting it is for listeners. So in my opinion, that stuff that never changes is not very interesting, but there's also, some of my favorite songs, like Tribe Called Quest. Q-Tip has a tendency to do really cool, like, it's not really singing. He's talking. He's definitely talking, but he'll move his voice enough where it kind of gives it a bounce to it. It gives, like, the song What Is on, I believe that's on Low End Theory. I think it's on Low End Theory. It's either that or The People's Instinctive Travels Across the Path of Funk and Rhythm. It's one of the two albums, but the song What Is so cool because his voice has such a bounce. What is about maybe? What is about maybe? It's so cool the way but it's really talking the whole time. So I'm saying you don't have to, go like crazy. You don't have to do that either. But you got to be good at one or the other. And if you're not, try both. And maybe mix both is more interesting most of the time, in my opinion. So, but let's focus on the thing at hand here. I just had to rant a little bit about some of that because I find today's music in general, pop, rap, anything really, is really all whispering now. People love to do that very intimate, up close, like they're pushing so much air when they sing. Picture John Mayer. He's pushing air when he sings, pretty much always. I love John Mayer. I do. Great guitar is phenomenal, but pushing a lot of air. He's airing up the whole room. It's covered in air. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these pop artists are up there freaking... what's with all the air? What happened to real voices singing? Why are we airing everything now? It's like you could smell their breath through the freaking speakers. But anyway, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Am I the only one who notices this? Do you guys notice it also? Do you like it? Do you like the way people sing today compared to how they used to sing? Does it somehow, is it easier on your ears? Do you like it more? Is it somehow easier to listen to? I don't understand. What is it? And if it is something I'm not talking about, maybe maybe there's another point to be made here that's completely different, but I'm curious to know your thoughts. I'm also definitely not somebody who just prefers music of the old school and doesn't like anything today. I like things of today. I have taste, I guess, for what I like, and my taste is not to just fall hook, line, and sinker in love with all this airy vocal nonsense that I keep hearing. I really don't like it. I like singers to sing. I don't want to hear them whisper, and I don't care that it makes me feel like they're singing into my eyeball super close and intimate. I'd rather, hear them actually use their instrument, not use a very small part of it, which is how I look at what it is. It's a part of it, no doubt, but it's such a small part of it, like the whisper voice. It's like a one-tone guitar sound kind of thing. It's that would bore me after a while. Also, I want more than one-tone guitar, and it took years for me to realize that this is going on, but it's been happening for a while. This is not new, in my opinion. So, anyway, I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know. Hit up the comments. Tell me something. Teach me something. I appreciate it. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. Take it easy.